All right, guys. So I know we don't have much time, so we'll just jump right into it. Thank you for joining us for the Performance Display Insights Lab. My name is Mullens. I'm an account leader out of the Fort Worth office. I've been in iProspect almost 4 years. Right now, I'm primarily working in luxury retail, but I've been lucky enough to do display across a lot of different verticals.
Hi everyone, I said y'all. I really do say that a lot, so I didn't want to sound too Texan. But I'm Alyson Barger. I am an account supervisor in the Fort Worth office as well. I've been there for about a week and a half. No, I've been there for 5 years. Display is my passion. That's all I know. So I'm so excited to talk to y'all about it. So let's jump in. Here's the challenge. The display landscape is huge, and so it's really complex. What we want to be able to do is scale your advertising against your most valuable consumers. However, it's difficult to do that because the consumer behavior is becoming more and more fragmented, and there are 1,001 ways to buy media. Where you're going to buy it, it's huge. So one of the biggest things is your budget remains the same, but the landscape is growing. So you have to, if you're going to run media, it needs to be run really efficiently, effectively, and at scale. So iProspect takes a really unique approach to performance display in the fact that it's very holistic. We want to make sure that not just your display, but everything that you are running. So if it's paid search, paid social, mobile, whatever it is, it's running in conjunction and running at a holistic view. Everything is seamless and aligned. So because it's challenged, we make it simple. There are 3 key things that we focus on, and that's really people, technology, and partnership. And those really come to life through these things right here. So to touch on them really quickly, programmatic display and programmatic buying, this is really the core of what we do. It's delivering the right message to the right people, right time. You've heard it. That's what the summit is about. And then secondly, content distribution. This is another thing that y'all heard about yesterday, and it's the cool new thing and it's not necessarily new, but there are so many new things that we can do with it and track and use it in the display space. So it's really amplifying your own media that you already have and then pushing that out at scale, but doing so really efficiently. And then lastly, media partners. So because we are part of the Dentsu Aegis network, we have direct access to the biggest people, Facebook, Google, Yahoo, Apple, just to name a few. And they provide so much benefit and value you're not going to get anywhere else. And so that being said, Aaron, let's jump into it a little bit more.
So we want to start today with the media partner direct relationship. So this is a big part of our business. There's a lot of partners here this week, and that's really because we've been able to establish really strong relationships over the years. So iProspect's been around for a long time. We've worked with a lot of great brands, which has meant that we've got to work with a lot of great publishers as well. And this is good. We have these established relationships because there is still owned and operated inventory that you just can't get anywhere else. You can't get it through programmatic yet. And even if you can, these direct publishers understand their audiences better than anyone else does. So working with them is vital to being able to really speak to their audience in a way that's going to resonate and be really impactful. One of the great opportunities is with these global agreements that we have with some of these large partners. The Red Bull account team was actually able to benefit from the Grammys by working through one of our bigger agreements with YouTube to target all of Rihanna's content prior to her Grammy performance, excuse me, to really capitalize on some of that traffic and some of that organic interest around Rihanna to really do a big branding buy to an audience that also resonates with someone who loves Red Bull. The best part about this is these partners are eager to work with us, and they constantly are bringing new and cool ideas to us that are in the form of custom executions and first-to-market opportunities. They're eager to work with our brands, and they're also eager to please their audiences. So they're definitely trying to provide really strong content, and they're willing to work with us to develop really engaging content for their audiences. A really good example of this is the account that I work on, Neiman Marcus, was interested in potentially
I'm so sorry.
was interested in doing something around weddings for the first time. And so we reached out to Style Me Pretty, and we worked with them to do a sponsored post that was going to be really interesting to their audience, but also incorporated different products from Neiman specific to rehearsal dinners. And then we also did something around honeymoons. So it wasn't specifically tied directly to bridal, but it was still something that was going to resonate really well with the Style Me Pretty audience. And then the best part is with these first to market opportunities, with these custom executions, it doesn't have to just be about product placement and really trying to push to the e-com site. You can also do a lot of things that have offline benefits as well. They are, like I said, they're truly focused on providing strong content to their users. And so they're interested in doing things around product launches or in-store events like a book signing. They're also interested in co-branding, doing a co-branded partnership around different industry events like South by Southwest or maybe a festival like Coachella. So there's some really cool things we can do with them from that perspective as well, and they're eager to be a part of it. So while we're talking about content and just the cool things we can do with it and really trying to make it relevant to users, you know, it's not just about creating content. We heard this yesterday during the native breakout session. It's really about making content relevant. So you guys have really strong PR and social teams that are constantly working to develop really great owned assets in many different forms. Content distribution is something that is really growing, and there's a lot of partners that we can work with, but the best part is we're getting to a point where we can really start to do a lot of stuff with it. So there's, just to name a few partners, Viral is a partner who specializes in branded video distribution. They can actually have a direct API access to your YouTube channel, which is really cool and easy to get started. Yahoo, who was part of the native panel yesterday, is currently going through a redesign of their entire platform that's going to be more of a magazine look and feel. It's going to be very visual, and that's based off of their partnership with Tumblr. So there's going to be a lot of really unique native opportunities there as well. But the partner we've chosen to really kind of spend some time on today is DistroScale. This is a pretty new partner, pretty new offering, and we're really excited about it at iProspect. We think it's going to provide a lot of great value in terms of allowing us to really manage your content and to really amplify the reach, but doing it in a really smart way. So DistroScale is primarily a technology. They can take a lot of different types of assets and distribute them across their growing premium network that includes properties such as Condé Nast and USA Today and many, many others in a way that's going to fit really seamlessly into those different websites. But the best part is this technology, it's simply that. It's a technology. It's not unlike an ad server. So your teams are still going to be managing this the same way we manage PPC, the same way we manage display. We're the ones pulling the levers, making the optimizations, putting the targeting in place, truly trying to put your content in front of the right type of person without being intrusive to their typical online behavior. So just a couple of examples that we worked with DistroScale to pull together. This one's from my client, Neiman Marcus. You can see that within this website, it's contextually targeted to related fashion content. It fits seamlessly as one of just the other article options in addition to this article. What it includes, though, is they were able to pull some of the really great stock photography that the high-res images that Neiman Marcus as a fashion brand really focuses on and has a lot of great assets of. They're also able to pull in an online version of their digital catalog. And that can actually expand into a larger iframe unit that you can engage with. It's really, really cool. One of the examples they pulled together for Hilton, in this instance, it's actually a sponsored article. So this would actually be something that your PR and social teams would pull together, not unlike a blog post. But it's about beach resorts and destinations. DistroScale is also able to pull a Hawaii-specific location YouTube video to be incorporated with that as well. And then in this case, it's contextually targeted to an article about an update to the Hawaii Five-0 cast. So people watching Hawaii Five-0 obviously may or may not be in the market for a hotel, but there is that contextual tie-in there to, man, every time I watch this show, Hawaii looks like a great place to maybe go vacationing. And then this is a good way to kind of tie that together. And so I think content distribution is going to be a really, really interesting thing. And like I said, the best part is we can manage it the same way we manage our other performance channels for you guys.
I'm really excited this is in here. I want Hilton to do this so bad. But let's talk about programmatic buying and programmatic display. Like I said earlier, this really is the core of what we do. And when it comes to programmatic, and for those of you that aren't as familiar, it's really about driving the right message to the right person, right time, right place. You know the saying. So it's not necessarily going after an audience you think that they might be. It's really all about data and layering on all of the data that we have at our fingertips to actually get the right consumer, not just where we're expecting them to be. So essentially what we would do is we'll place a pixel on your site. We want to get that first party data. We know the most about those users. So seeing how they interact with your brand, and then additionally when they're off site in their purchasing, we want to see what their purchasing habits are and how they interact with different media. So a few other things that we love to do is layer on all this other data. So third party data, whether it's Blue Kai, Experian, etc. And then also CCS. This is proprietary data that only we have access to, so we're able to layer on all these data sets to get every type of consumer, whether it's the ones that are in market, ones that are ready to purchase, or ones that are just in the research phase. So after that, we want to figure out where we want to buy. So whether it is indirect buys, or it's creating a custom private marketplace through our trading desk with AMNet, or if it's just direct site buys. That all kind of goes into what I think is one of the most important, and it is having a single source for tracking. So like I said in the beginning, we really take a holistic approach to it. So DoubleClick's not going to tell you, it's going to tell you what doesn't, or what's working, what's not working, but it's really going to tell you how your display campaigns are performing in relation to all of the other initiatives that you're doing. So whether it's your paid search campaign that's starting it, and then it's your display banner that is closing that loop, this is so key to having that single source. So touching on it a little bit more, right place, right time. So you've got your audience. You know where you're targeting them and where you are buying. But the biggest key is creative. And so I have to plug our creative services team. They're amazing. I work with them every single day. But delivering a tailored message to a user wherever they are on whichever device, whether in the research phase, that message needs to be different than somebody who is in the intent and they're ready to purchase. So making sure that's also streamlined across device is vital as well. So a lot of this has to do with dynamic creative. That's my favorite thing. That's what I do, is if they've been to the site and they're looking for a hotel in Dallas, I want to be able to serve them a hotel in Dallas. Not, hey John, I know you want to go here. I know we've talked about the creepy stuff, but it's really great, and personalized, tailored messaging really does help in terms of efficiency. So it doesn't make sense to be running display if your creative's not fantastic.
So as we kind of wrap it up today, with performance display, and just like any other performance channel, we have to measure it. If you can't tell if it's successful or not, how can you call it performance? So each of these pillars, obviously it's a holistic approach. They all work together, and they all have different parts of the purchase path they're focused on. It's all about understanding that consumer. But the most important thing, and this came up yesterday in some of the sessions that we all sat in, is determining up front what our goals are, and then what the KPIs are going to be to judge that success. So programmatic, it's rooted in efficiency and driving purchases, but there are more and more opportunities coming available to do high impact units. So there is a chance to drive awareness through programmatic now. And vice versa, direct site buys, some of those custom executions we touched on, that's really trying to engage users. That's really trying to put your brand's voice and your perspective out there, but it still can drive conversion. So up front, we need to make sure that we're really clearly defining what those goals are and what is going to be successful, make those campaigns successful. But it's this holistic approach that we take to performance display that is not unlike what we do on the paid search side and paid social and so on. And it's really our view and our unique approach that we feel that this is truly an integrated piece of that greater holistic digital strategy that we have for all of your brands across all of the channels. So that's it. And with the minutes that we have remaining, we are free to answer any questions you might have.
Are you guys moving towards any like multi-touch attribution partners? I know you guys mentioned DFA for like last in,
Sure.
but are you kind of looking at more of like the holistic path of what partners are driving?
Yeah, I think that's kind of goes by a brand basis. I've actually worked with Visual IQ in the past. I know other brands have worked with Clear Sailing, Odometry. We definitely look at all of that. I think that a really big part of that is going to be what we manage for your brand. So we're almost like an agency of record doing the majority of the channels, it's going to be a lot easier, I think, from a vetting process for us to really be involved in that. We want to be involved in it regardless, but if you have several different agencies that you're working with, a lot of times, you know, a big part of that's going to fall on the brand team specifically, and we are more than happy to help with that if and where possible. But yeah, absolutely. And I think that's going to be a really big piece for display in general, especially when we're talking about content distribution and that stuff, because that's adding a whole nother element as far as touch points go, right?
Good question. Anybody else? Who's running display now? All right. All right.
Wow, don't seem so excited about it.
I know. This is the most exciting one you'll be at all day. So let's just get that clear.
I guess I have another question,
Sure.
just about, like they mentioned yesterday, persistent IDs, like with cookies and everything. Do you have any thoughts on like what you guys are looking to do with that? I don't know if that would be like through partnership or.
That's a good question.
So in terms of PII data, I work on the Hilton brand specifically, and they are I feel like a lot of stuff that we want to do, we're not able to use a lot of their data because it is, and I know because y'all's brands are so big and well known, legal is always an issue. However, we do, I don't want to say we get around that, but we're getting closer and closer to using CRM data and using that in our campaigns. Mm-hmm. But I think especially with the big brands like y'all, it's definitely hard, and we work around it, but I think we're getting our message tailored enough and not in the way that's saying, hey, I know you live at whatever. Right. But that's one of the, so it's so weird, but once I got into this space, I was like, this is the craziest thing. When I get retargeted ads, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be getting that, but now that I know how the whole thing works, it's a little freaky. So, but yeah, that's a good question. I think that it's hard when you have to find that fine line.
Right. What's a general rule of thumb, like when you're retargeting with dynamic creative, like how long do we see it take someone to actually make that purchase?
So, very good question. I want to get in, I hate to give you this answer, but it's going to depend on your vertical. So I think it's going to be different for, you know, somebody who's doing travel or cars or versus, you know, consumer product goods. It also depends on your look back window and what you value. We're almost finished. Okay. 1 second. So that's going to play a big part, but that also goes back to your messaging. You want it to be different. You can kind of categorize, I don't want to say the funnel, but you can categorize where they are, where we think they are in that path, and show them a different message. And then, you know, following, you know, 7 days, we know that they're probably in the more intent phase, so we'll give them another message. So good question, but it really varies, and I hate to tell you that, but it varies.